Okay, this class is based on this week's Torah portion, which is titled Chaye Sara. Now, this portion in the Torah is very, very interesting, but we're going to talk about something particular. I have to let you know this is a advanced shiur, lecture, however you want to say it, lesson. So if you don't understand everything, once again, don't worry about it. For those who do, this should be very, very important for you and very, very special. I'll try to bring some people up to some level, but again, I'm not going to elaborate too much on the aspects of the Kabbalah. Again, this is an advanced class. So, what you need to understand as a kind of a prerequisite and to think about is the idea and the concept regarding the Sfirot, and particularly Zer Anpin, the seven lower Sfirot, and we're talking about Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yisod, and Malchut. Each one of these is what has related to it a Merkava. The Merkava is a personality. Now, we're talking about, for instance, we know that Chesed is related to Avrahom, Gevurah Yitzchak, Tiferet Yaakov, and Netzach Moshe. Hod is Aharon, and Yisod is Yosef. Malchut is David HaMelech, King David. Now, there is not, accordingly, personalities that are for the upper triad, or what's called Erech Anpin, the upper three Sfirot, which is Keter, Chachma, and Bina. Now, accordingly, these are very, very high, and therefore they're in a different category, a different level all to themselves, different partsuf. Therefore, there's not a personality reflected. If you recall the shiur, the lesson that I gave last week, we actually did mention something, that Sarah was actually connected to Bina. And now this is true. I want to elaborate on that a little bit further, because only she was related to Bina, or was she the only one? So let's understand it accordingly. As we say, when we have the holiday of Sukkot, we do what's called the Ushpizin. We have the seven guests. Again, this is related to, again, corresponding to the seven Sfirot. Each of the days of Sukkot relate to one of the guests, relate to one of the Ushpizin, one of the Merkavot, and one of the Sfirot. Again, it's all very Kabbalistic in concept of what we're actually achieving on and during Sukkot. Now, having said all of that, let's go into a little bit more of a deeper understanding, again, as we talked about now in regarding Bina. Sarah, Imenu, Sarah was actually related to Bina, but there is another part of Bina. And now we're going to get into more Kabbalah, what's called the Partsufim. There is Keter, Chachma, and Bina, and they have their different attributes kind of divided out. The lower and the higher. Keter is actually broken down into what's called Atik Yomin and the Atik HaKadisha. Chachma is Chachma, but the other part of the lower aspect is what's called Yisrael Saba. And Bina, the lower part, is called Tuvuna. Now, what that actually means in regards to, for instance, Tuvuna and Yisrael Saba of Chachma and Bina is that they are, each one of those Sfirot contain within it also 10 Sfirot. And this is how it works with all of the Sfirot on infinite. So, the actually 10%, the Malchut of Bina, is actually that level which is called Tuvuna. This is what's called in Kabbalah, and this, as far as Yisrael Saba, which is the same thing, are called the Mochin, the brains, the intelligence of the Partsuf of Zer Anpin, of the 6 lower Sfirot. Again, that is Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, and Yisod. So it is this aspect that actually is not attached on a permanent basis, is like the other Sfirot of Zer Anpin, related to the Merkavot of Avrahom, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aharon, Yosef, and David. These influences and these personalities are attached always to these Sfirot, even till today. When it came with Sarah, while she was alive in this world, she brought down a special light, radiance above these normal 6 sfirot, which was the aspect of the light of Tuvuna. Again, we can't understand or quite comprehend it, but this is what she brought down. A very high level of Kedusha, holiness, into this world. When she left this world, there was a vacuum. It did not remain, or that aspect when she was in this world started closing up. Therefore, concerning this, it is recorded in the Torah, in Bereshit 22, that's the parak, and pasuk bet, or number 2, the verse. It says, "Vatamat Sara b'kiryat arba hi Chavron be'eretz Canaan v'yavo Avrahom lispod l'Sara v'lifkota." Translated, and Avraham came to eulogize Sarah and to bewail her. Just translating the last part over there. Now, what does it mean, v'lifkota? And to cry for her, or to bewail her. Now understand, the word as it's written in the Torah is actually written kind of strange for some reason. The kaf of the word v'liv kota is written small. So there's actually an emphasis, actually a double emphasis on the word v'lev and also on the word ta. So this word, and why was he crying? So the normal explanation, and Rashi brings down, is that the kaf is small because it wasn't a full lamenting, a full crying. Why? Because he was a tzaddik. He understood that Sarah was actually going into a better place. Again, that's what our Meforshim translate, and that's what they say on that, and it's absolutely correct likewise, on a different level. Now, why was he crying though? Again, you can say it's simply emotions. We are all Ben Adam, we're all human beings, and we cry when we love somebody and when we're going to miss that person when they're gone. So, it makes sense. But again, when we're talking about these holy, very special personalities, the actual roots of the nation of Israel, there's a lot more when they cry. And therefore, understand that when Avraham cried, and why he cried, well, because he understood that this very holy level, this holy woman, his wife, Sarah, who brought in the light and the holiness of the aspect of Tuvuna, that this was no longer going to be in the world anymore. And this is why he cried. Therefore, the gematria of this word, v'liv kota, is the same as the word tuvuna, which is 463. Now, as we said before, is it true that when Sarah left this world that it was completely gone? Reality was that there was still, as it were, the fuel in the world, but it was dissipating quickly, and therefore it would have been gone unless the right other woman could be found who would actually spark and cause that fuel to be ignited again, and therefore bringing back into the world the aspect of this holiness of Tuvuna. And who was it? So we understand that is what Avraham wanted, and also he wanted for his son, of course. Therefore, as soon as that period was coming to an end, what happened was that he, after he eulogized, immediately he went to find a wife for his son Yitzchak. And he knew that Rivka would have been the proper and was the proper match. But would she actually have the spark that Sarah had and be able to rekindle that spirit of Tuvuna? So concerning this, it is actually written in the Torah there, in Genesis, Bereshit 24, verse 67, also significant numbers. It says, Vayivieha Yitzchak ahaleha Sarah imo vayikach et Rivka vatihi lo leisha v'yivi Vaya'ahava v'yenachem Yitzchak acharei imo. Translated, and Yitzchak brought her to the tent, to Sarah his mother, and he took Rivka, and she became his wife, and he loved her, and Yitzchak was comforted for the loss of his mother. Now the word loss is implied. Now Rashi says something beautiful over here. Rashi says, commentary, to the tent of Sarah his mother, he brought her to the tent, and behold, she was his mother. She became the likeness of Sarah his mother. For as long as Sarah was alive, a candle burned from one Shabbat eve to the next. A blessing was found in the dough, meaning the challah. A cloud was attached to the tent, and when Sarah died, these things ceased. And Rivka arrived. Then they resumed again. And that's what's recorded in what's called Bereshit Rabbah. And that is found in Perek 60, verse 16, or Samech Pasuk Tet Zayin. All these things are very, very interesting. Now, if one actually contemplates and understands what these things are, you can draw a very interesting comparison to these things likewise. But before we do that, let's understand, why did these things return? They returned as a symbol, and the reality was that Rivka was the likeness of Sarah, meaning that she was able to make a spark based on her level of Kedusha, and therefore she was able to be fueled by the Tavuna that Sarah originally brought into this world and kept everything burning, and all that holiness returned and came back. And all of these signs are symbolic, and are a symbol of the aspect of Tavuna. Now let's understand further. Think about it. What were these three things, and how do they relate to anything else? They absolutely do. And how do they do that? Based on the avodah, based on the kelim, the vessels that were in the Mishkan and in the Beit HaMikdash. Concerning this, in the Kodesh, there was the menorah, there was the lechem hapanim, and there was the mizbeach ketoret. Meaning there was the menorah, the lamp of the menorah, the candelabra, as one can call it that. There was the lechem hapanim, or the showbread, and there was the altar or of spices, or the spice altar that was made out of gold. Each one of these things represented one of these three things. Therefore, the light of the Shabbat, the light of the Shekhinah, the light of Tavuna came and illuminated from the menorah. The showbread, the lechem panim, as it says over there, they put challah on there, and it would remain there from one Shabbat to the next. And the blessing in the dough was that, again, it was fresh as it came out all week long until it was replaced, maintained the same freshness. The ketoret gave a great smell, but it also gave a great cloud, a very holy cloud. This is symbolic again of the cloud that was attached to the tent, being again an aspect of the Shekhinah, God's presence. Therefore, all of these things that Hashem instructed the Jewish people to do in the temple literally was to bring an aspect of this tuvunah, this holy aspect above that would influence the six lower sfirot, that would permeate into this world and therefore into Malchut of this world, which is actually this physical world where it would come to rest in. This is why we had these things. Therefore, what is the other element that's beyond all that is in the Kodesh Kodashim that we understood was the Ark of the Covenant, or as we say, the Aron HaKodesh, and that represented the other aspect of Chachma, or Yisrael Saba. More than that, it was actually one, but it was actually two parts. You had the Aron, you had the Kaporet, which was on top, where the angels are. This actually is the emanation that emanates even above, because the voice of Hashem emanated and came from between the wings, or between the two kruvim. Therefore, again, the kruvim were the aspect of Chachma, but the actual voice in between was the aspect actually of the Keter itself that emanated from it. So all of these things were there for this purpose. But after Rivka left this world, there was nobody to be take the place of Rivka in the world ever again. And that aspect of Tevunah on its own ceased and was gone from that point on. Does that mean it's gone forever? Well, again, the whole part of the avodah, of the service in the Beit HaMikdash and in the Mishkan that happened first, was in order to bring and to have the influence of the Tevunah in this world. However, we know it's gone now as well too. And again, there was no person who was a Merkava after Sarah and Rivka. Therefore, there is no personality, no person who is actually associated with that Sphira, or with any of the other two Sphirot of Keter and Chachma. Now let's understand something special. It's not supposed to be gone forever, and it will not be gone forever. There will be in the time, Bezrat Hashem, God willing, in the time of the Geula Shlema, the complete redemption, that this will actually come back in a different form, but still related, and it will actually come down and be emulated through the rectification of the Sphira of Hod that comes with Yisod. How do we know this? The gematria of the two, which is Hod being 15 and Yisod being 80, together that is 95. This, when Yisod and Hod are together, and Yisod has a rectification, and there's more to be explained about that, but I'm not going to do it on this level and on this share, because this is way beyond this advanced share as well too at this point here. A lot to know before that. But understand that when it will be rectified, both of them coming in achdut, in unification together, there will come back this aspect of Tevunah. Because again, the gematria of the two is 95, which is the same as the original name of Sarah. This name, which is Yiska. Concerning this, it is written in the Torah, and that is in Genesis, or in Bereshit, Perek 10, verse 29, again, Pasuk Chaf Tet, Vayikach Avram v'nachar lahem nashim, Shem Eshet Avram Sarai, v'Shem Eshet Nahor Milka, Bat Haran Avi Milka v'Avi Yiska. Now, Rashi says over there, and again, I'll just translate first the actual pasuk, the verse, says, and Avram and Nahor took themselves wives, and the name of Avram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milka, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milka, and the father of Yiska. So Rashi says over there that Yiska, this is Sarah, and she was called Yiska because she would see Socha through divine inspiration, and because all gazed Sochin at her inner beauty. Alternatively, the word Yiska also is an expression denoting royalty, which is Nesichoyot. Just as Sarah is an expression of, it's written over there, Sorara, which is dominion of royalty, so is it over here was likewise, and that's from the Megillah, which is on 14a, and it's the Talmud. So again, we see that the name Sarah there, Yiska, is a remez, is a hint of also this aspect of Tevunah, of the joining of the two Sfirot of Hod in Yisod, that will be permeated and illuminated by this level of Tevunah, which Sarai actually was the first one, or Sarah in this case, to actually manifest in this world. May we be zoche, worthy, and merit this quickly in our day and age with the Geula Shlema, the complete redemption, as it is coming, God willing, soon. Amen.